Welcome to the Real Estate Syndication Show. Whether you are a seasoned investor or building a new real estate business, this is the show for you. Whitney Sewell talks to top experts in the business. Our goal is to help you master real estate syndication. And now your host, Whitney Sewell.
Gene Trowbridge and Jonathan Ney, founding partners of the top syndication firm, Trowbridge Law Group, LLP, have a legal team with over 50 years of combined experience in real estate syndication and the practice of real estate securities law. Over this time, Gene and his partners in several past firms and currently have helped clients raise close to $5 billion in offerings by empowering entrepreneurs to raise capital legally. To learn more about Trowbridge Law Group, LLP, visit their website at trowbridgelawgroup.com or follow them on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. This is your daily real estate syndication show. I'm your host, Whitney Sewell. Today, our guest is Daisy Serrano. Thanks for being on the show, Daisy.
Hi, Whitney. Thank you so much for having me. Excited for today.
Daisy is a limited partner in 253 units in Texas, totaling $20.7 million in value, and is a leader with the Women's Real Estate Network. Also known, do you pronounce it REN? Or do
Ren,
you say that?
right? Ren, yeah. For sure.
She has over 10 years of experience in international relations, education management, and counseling. Her goals are to help more people, especially millennials, have opportunities to invest in real estate, multifamily, uplift and empower her community through mentorship, access, be a positive role model for her family, and retire her parents. Daisy, thank you again for your time this morning. I'm looking forward to getting into this conversation. You have some superpowers. It's so crucial in this business, no matter where you're at in this business, connecting with people, networking, those things, learning about people, which you are really good at, is so important. But give us a little more about who you are, your real estate background, and what you're focused on right now.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again for having me on, Whitney. Excited to be here with you today. And from Southern California originally, I actually was exposed to real estate through my husband, Luke. I've actually had 10 years of experience in international education. And so really, a little bit of a different world compared to real estate. But the more I've, sort of learned and transitioned into real estate, the more I've realized that there's a lot of overlap as well. A lot of it is, working with people. My counseling background is, just great in terms of working with investors and really understanding what it is that they're looking for, and be able to sort of back into, the solutions or the right investment opportunity for them. And so for me, real estate just sort of happened by accident, to be quite honest. I never expected, to go into real estate. It was never even on my radar. And my husband has been interested in real estate for a very long time, engineering background. So just very, very good fit in terms of, the underwriting and a lot of the numbers driven processes for real estate. And so he just started talking about it, started taking me to meetups that he would go to, and, started going with him, but wasn't quite interested myself, to be quite honest. It was more to support him. And the more I learned, the more I fell in love with the industry and with the opportunities that were in multifamily space specifically. And so what we started seeing, especially going to a lot of these meetups, is that there aren't very many millennials that are investing, that even know that this is something that's possible. And so we've made it our mission to be able to help more millennials invest in multifamily, and know that it's something that's available to them.
Nice. Well, let's jump in there just a little bit. I know you all are focused on helping those millennials. What is it about, millennials that, that there's a big hurdle there, a roadblock or issue about investing in real estate? And, what are you all helping them with? Help us, understand that a little better.
Yeah, certainly happy to. So what we've noticed and what we've seen is, especially with a lot of our friends and millennials that are our age, is that there's a very big gap compared to our parents' generation when it comes to education, right? When it comes to paying for education specifically. So a lot of people in our age range have loans, right, from undergrad. And, these different reasons that have prevented a lot of us from being able to buy homes, at a younger age, like our parents, or, plan for retirement, or, a lot of things that I think are very crucial to be able to set yourself up well financially and have, be able to make the life choices that you want later in life, have been obstacles. And so what we've realized is that within real estate, there's the opportunity to invest while you're going to school, while you're working, while you're building your life. And so by the time that you do come, to retire, then you have the ability to either, pay for yourself, or for your family, for your parents, right? There's just so much impact that you can create by making the right choices earlier in life versus later in life. And so we've noticed that gap, and having conversations with friends, with other people that are, in our similar age group. And so that was really the reason why we decided to, be able to help millennials understand the opportunities that are available, and that it's not something that's just available for, a banker or a high net worth individual, but, that you are able to make the right steps to put money away, to save, and to be able to start investing little by little, and long term, reap the benefits of that. So what that looks like now, we've actually started a podcast called Make It Rain, Investing for Millennials. And that was actually even really fun, just coming up with a name. We actually did a survey of, millennials, a lot of friends, a lot of people that we knew on LinkedIn, on Instagram, and, got feedback in terms of the name of the podcast. And so people were very involved, I think, and saw the work that we were doing. And it really came from having a lot of conversations with people that we already knew, and wanting to create more access and share that information with more people. And so it started with just us wanting to, talk about what is multifamily, what are the benefits of investing in multifamily. And from there, it's just expanded, and it's been a beautiful transition to, being able to bring on guests that focus on different aspects, and just expanding our network and our relationships has been amazing. And so, now that we're jumping from the LP side to the GP side, in terms of networking, in terms of, making our team together, right now we're in the period of our careers where we're putting our team together for syndication. And so just, making the connections that we've made has been amazing. And it wasn't something that we expected to happen. It just sort of organically transitioned in that direction. And so it's been building upon each other, right? Where it started as something very different, just wanting to educate and provide resources, and it's turned into this amazing project that now we're really passionate about.
Yeah, that's awesome. That I could relate to that. My younger self, just not understanding or knowing the possibility of real estate, and not even knowing that thing's out there. That's a possibility. I know once I learned that, I got exposed to real estate, it's like, wow, if all these people have built wealth in real estate, I can do it too. That doesn't mean it's been easy or that we're there yet, but it has, it was just eye-opening, right initially. So I can relate to that, to what you're talking about there. But just the big difference, if I could have started this 10 years ago, or 10 years earlier, actually the syndication business specifically, man, that would have, just would have made such a big difference, and getting started earlier, like you're talking about. But where would you start? So it's interesting you talk about the steps. So what's the biggest holdup? And I know you talked about it a little bit, but like when you think about like a millennial, are most ready that you speak to, or that have found you all, are most ready to make this happen, or is it most hesitate about real estate investing? Are they scared of real estate and want to invest in stock market, or what's their thought process?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think a lot of us are more so exposed to the stock market, and that's something that I don't know that we fully understand, right? The complexities of it, but it's something that, with having a 401k or a retirement account, that it's more, something that we're more aware of. And so I think just having those conversations, it starts with learning more about what is multifamily and what is real estate in general, right? So what we've seen is that a lot of people that we've been speaking to, it really starts with learning what it is, understanding what the benefits are, and then being able to make a plan, right? So most people that we're speaking to, because there isn't a lot of access and a lot of opportunity to invest for millennials that we've seen, it's more so figuring out what this opportunity is. Let me, get educated, right? So listen to podcasts like yourselves, like ours, like Bigger Pockets. There's just so many, right? There's a lot of information out. And so it's learning, okay, what it is and really staying engaged with us through that process. So Luke and I, we actually, love to hop onto calls, with people that are just starting or that maybe have listened to a few episodes, and just, have a 15 to 20 minute conversation about, what it is that you're learning. Can we answer any questions? And I think at that point, it's really just encouraging people to continue on, and then people are ready to invest, right? And I think that's really important. It's not jumping to investing right away, because being on the other side, right, on the GP side, you want to work with investors that understand the risks. There's also risks, right, like with everything else. And so it's the entire process. It's not just there's tax benefits and so many benefits, right, to investing, but it's also there are risks, there are downsides. And so it's working with somebody that is educated, so then they understand why you're making certain business decisions once that time comes as well.
So let's pivot just a little bit. I know you have your superpower is like connecting with people, learning about people. Let's talk about that a little bit, because it's so important in this business. It's a skill that I had to work on and read books about and practice, and just to learn how to connect with people and learn about them, right? And so I would love for you just to elaborate on that a little bit, and maybe we can talk through some examples or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely happy to. So I, even in thinking, what is my superpower? I thought, ooh, what should I say? I was thinking I need to say something that's more business related, right? Because it is a business essentially. And, the more I thought about it, the more I said, no, I know who I am. And, who I am as a person is someone who loves connecting with people and somebody who loves learning people's stories. And the best way to sort of phrase it is, one time a friend told me, you're a great networker. And I said, oh, I never thought of myself as a networker. But, now thinking back, it's, somebody who networks is somebody who loves learning about people and creating a genuine relationship. And as you mentioned, Whitney, in this industry, it's all about people, right? Whether it is, your clients, the tenants, the residents that live, in the properties, right, in multifamily, or whether it's the partners that you're working with, whether it's the investors, it's all about people. And so for me, it was really once I realized that it is a business of people, and it is those connections that get you the furthest, then I fully jumped in, because I felt like there was a gap in my experience coming from a very different world. And what I realized is that my experience fits so well into multifamily, because of that love for genuine connection with people. And so what that's looked like now is, webinars, events, meetups. For me, it's very easy to walk into a room and go up to a stranger and talk and ask questions, and in a way that's so very genuine.
So many people. Like that is, it's so fearful. I mean, so many people are so fearful of that right there. Just walking up, talking to somebody they don't know. And I would say that's something I mean, I've had a lot of practice with over many years now, but initially it's not easy, right?
Yeah. And a good example, right, to your point, Whitney, is, when I decided and I committed to taking real estate seriously, I joined the Women's Real Estate Network that you mentioned. I'm on the leadership team for now. And I didn't know anybody there, right? My industry was completely different. And so I found this group on Meetup and I just showed up. And, it was such an amazing experience, because I showed up and I was there to learn, and I was just so excited to be there. And so it was a very easy transition, right? To be able to walk into a room and not knowing a lot about, not being able to talk about cap rate or, NOI, or right, not having the terminology down at that point, but understanding that, I was interested in being there and being able to have those conversations. I walked away from that meeting with about 4 phone numbers. I signed up for the membership right then and there, and I signed up to volunteer with the organization. And so that really led me in this trajectory where, I just became so involved with the organization that now I'm on the leadership team. But it really started with just showing up, being very comfortable with, walking up to people and asking questions and just chatting and wanting to know them better. And that was where it started for me.
Wanting to know them better. If you just think like that, there's a lot of questions that come to mind, or conversation starters, right? That you can ask someone. And I think that's hard initially because you don't know what you're going to say, or if you have, when people are so nervous about that, you maybe fumble over your words quite a bit or something like, you're worried about that. But if you are focused on learning about them, it's a lot easier, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's beautiful. I mean, I think my approach to life is that everybody has a very unique story. Everybody's gone through something different. And everybody has such lived experiences and, wisdom and truths that have come from those experiences. So for me, it's really, whether I'm at a metro station in LA, and just sit next to a stranger, it's just really learning who they are. And I think that's really my approach to life and to real estate. It's just wanting to learn who people are. And sometimes there's better connections and sometimes there isn't as good connections, right? I mean, we're very different. And so you don't connect with everybody necessarily. But I think once you build your tribe and the people that you are, you resonate with and your values aligned, then there's so much power in that. And you might lose that opportunity if you don't start that conversation.
You lose the opportunity if you don't start the conversation. I like that. That's good. Think about it like that. You do not know what the opportunity is going to be, but it's not going to be there if you don't start the conversation. So Daisy, what's been the hardest part of this syndication journey or process for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think the biggest hurdle has really been mental, to be quite honest. I think so many people have done it, and there are so many resources out there that once, I decided to commit and that I was, ready to learn and to make it happen, finding the resources was a lot easier. It was really that mental shift for me of going from, I come from a very different industry. Who am I to go into real estate? Who am I to be talking about multifamily? Who am I to start a podcast? So for me, it was really that mental shift that was the biggest hurdle. It was very much so internal. And, for me, the biggest thing is the more I surrounded myself with like-minded people, and I met people like yourself, Whitney, that were doing it, right? And I said, oh, these are normal people. You hear sometimes podcasts or, you see YouTube videos and it seems like them, right? It's them and I'm here. And then, you go to meetups and you meet people that are doing these wonderful, amazing things. And you think, oh, it's a normal person. They have lived experiences the same way that I do. They've gone through certain struggles the same way that I do. And so for me, it was really just surrounding myself with the right people, and getting over that mental limitation of who am I to be in real estate, and embracing that my experience is as valuable, if not even more, than, a lot of people that are in this space.
Yeah, if you wait till you think you're ready, you'll never get started. Right?
Exactly.
So Daisy, even as a limited partner, as a general partner, how do you prepare for a downturn, or what do you look for?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the biggest, as an LP, I'll say that I think one of the biggest things is investing with the right group, right, with the right sponsor. And so that goes back to vetting the person that you're working with or the group that you're working with well. I know that for Luke and myself, my husband and myself, when we were looking to invest as LPs, we really did our homework, right, to understand who the people were behind the business plan, right, who was running the show. We live in California and we invest in Texas. And so we flew out to Texas to, check out the market, to check out San Antonio, to secret shop the property. We pretended like we were, moving into town and, secret shop the property and, checked out management, did a tour. And we also got to know the city better. So when we were out in San Antonio, we were Ubering, right? We're doing Lyft to get around town. And so we were talking to people that were in the car with us and asking why they liked to live there, what they didn't like about, the city. And we were asking so many questions that people would actually go out of their way. One driver specifically showed us where she lived, and she told us about, why she chose that area as a resident. And this was, we were, still on the Uber, right? And she went out of her way. And so we made sure that we understood the sponsors well, but also flew out to the market and saw for ourselves that there was growth, that there was, employment, that there was rent increases, that there were all these markers that they talked about that they were actually happening. So I think the best way to prepare as much in advance for a downturn is to understand who you're investing with and understand the market that you're investing in. Because for the properties that we invested in, there was the first quarter after the COVID hit, they stopped distributions, to have reserves right on hand in case it was needed. But Q2, it started right up again, and it hasn't stopped since. And so I think that's indicative of the strength of the business plan and the execution, right? The team that's behind it as well.
So important. I appreciate you elaborating on how you all flew to the market and you secret shopped, and there was some expense there. There was some due diligence. There was time spent. It wasn't just this quick decision. And so knowing that operator that well in the market, it's so important. I appreciate you sharing that. I believe, Daisy, that almost anyone in business that's successful must have a high level of self-discipline. Somehow, right? And I don't think we're all born with that, but there's a way that's developed or taught or something. How did you gain such a high level of self-discipline?
Yeah, I think it came over time. I wasn't always so self-disciplined. When I was younger, I certainly was not. But I think it's really, once I got very clear on what my goals were and where my husband and I wanted to be, both as a couple and as business partners, because we do work together. And so we, do balance those two different roles that we play, in our relationship. And so once we got very clear on what those goals were, then it was a lot easier, because then things either aligned with our values and our goals, or they didn't. And so if they aligned, then it was a heck yes. And if they didn't align, then it was a heck no, right? And so that made it very, very easy for us to differentiate between, events to go to or how to spend our time. The how-to was really about making a schedule and being very, very clear with our schedule, with our expectations. And so the joke for us is, if it's not on our calendar, it's not happening, whether it's a family event, right? A family gathering, or, a business meeting, it has to be in the calendar. And so I think just being very aligned and having that support at home for us made all the difference. And so, waking up and doing our morning meditation and writing down our goals, and just, with both of us still working full time and doing real estate as well, we have to be very disciplined. In the evenings, a lot of times we're recording, for the podcast or underwriting, or, we have meetings. I'm part of a couple organizations as well on the leadership team. And so there's meetings for that. And on the weekend, it's very similar. And so I think it's just understanding where we're committing our time and being intentional, not letting, commitments slip in if they're not aligned with our values and with our goals.
What's a way you've recently improved your business that we could apply to ours?
A way that we've recently improved, I would say Calendly, to be quite honest, in terms of the technical side. It's just saved us so much more time to be able to, to schedule, especially with the podcast and with booking business appointments and, everything going virtual, right? So there's so many Zoom calls and, and appointments now. And so on more so the technical side, I would say Calendly has been a huge, huge lifesaver. And more so on the maybe professional side, I would say the podcast, because it has given us exposure and access to individuals that we wouldn't otherwise have. It's different, right? Reaching out to someone and saying, hey, I'd love to pick your brain, right? And provide no value, versus, hey, I'd love to, get you exposed to our audience and for people to learn your story and be inspired and learn more about what you're doing, and for you to be able to showcase what it is that you are doing, right? And put the word out. And so I think just having that difference in conversation has been really crucial for the business plan as well, because as we said, Whitney, it is about people, right? It is business, but it is about people. And so having the podcast as a platform to give people the opportunity to showcase who they are and what they're doing has been amazing.
What's a way that, or your best source right now for finding investors?
Our best source, it's definitely been through the podcast as a funnel for investors for sure. But also we're constantly having conversations with people on LinkedIn. So I would say between social media has been really great for us. We're pretty active both on Instagram and on LinkedIn, and so reaching out to people through there and just putting word out about what we're doing. I think the more people learn about what you're doing when you are doing the right things and being ethical and being true to who you are and to your word, people want to work with you. And so it's really been putting the word out about what we're doing, and we've seen that people are interested and want to work with us in that way.
What's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
The number one thing is committing. Somebody recently shared that commitment is an active word. You can't commit and be passive. You have to be active. And so once I made the commitment and took action, that completely changed everything for me.
Love that answer. I could not agree more. You have to commit before you think you know it all or you know enough. You got to commit and have some courage, right? To step out. So grateful for your answer there. How do you like to give back?
Oh, in so many ways, Whitney. I'm very community oriented. And so one of the big first steps for me is with my family, whether it's with my immediate family or, with my bigger community in general. And so it's giving back in the form of mentorship has been really important for me for years and years. And so creating more access for younger people in my community to understand that there are a lot of other career opportunities, that it's not just being a doctor, being a lawyer, these traditional roles, and taking on a very active, taking on a very active role in mentorship and guiding the younger generation is really, really important for me. So that's really where it starts.
Daisy, I'm grateful for your time today and just sharing with us. I mean, going back to even just the millennials and that really mental block, right? That a lot of them have, or just not having the education or being exposed to the difference in investing early and the difference that can make in their entire life. And just, knowing those steps right now, but then also just your ability to connect with people, the importance of being interested in learning about them. And it's going to just help that conversation. And whether it's tenants or partners or investors or, thinking through, it's so many different types of people, right? It's not just investors, and just how to create that genuine relationship. And then just different ways that you've been self-disciplined and gained that self-discipline and how you give back. We're just grateful for your time. Tell the listeners how they can get in touch with you and learn more about you and your podcast.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me, Whitney. This has been really fun, and I love that work that you're doing, and I just get so much value from your podcast and from everything that you do. So thank you for having me on. And to reach us, you can find us on the Make It Rain podcast. So makeitrain.com or Make It Rain podcast on Instagram as well. And LinkedIn, Daisy Serrano, you can find me there. Very active on there as well. So always happy to jump on a call and connect and meet new people.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Syndication Show, brought to you by LifeBridge Capital. LifeBridge Capital works with investors nationwide to invest in real estate, while also donating 50% of its profits to assist parents who are committing to adoption. LifeBridge Capital, making a difference, one investor and one child at a time. Connect online at www.lifebridgecapital.com for free material and videos to further your success.